and welcome to on Gaming and Nerdery as I move on to Blood and Steel, another mod for Mountain Blade Warband. Now, you may be wondering why this isn't the last days, and there's an easy, simple explanation for that. I decided to put that on hold until the patch comes out. Not only that, but one of the developers, on the last day's forum, gave me an idea of how to play it a little better, and I'm thinking I'm going to do that. I'm going to start a new game on the last days and play that more interesting, we'll say. And my first test at making a gameplay more interesting is Blood and Steel. Blood and Steel is one of the earliest mods, as I recall, of the list of mod subforums on the Tailworlds forums, where most Mountain Blade discussion is centered. So my hope really is that, well, let's just say, okay, we're going to try this again, because what I was just saying wasn't coming out right. So essentially what I want to do is, I want to show you Blood and Steel, because it's actually a lot of fun. It's a little crazy at times, and there's some questionable decisions in it. But at the same time, it is a very, very fun mod, and we're going to enjoy it. Or I'm going to enjoy it. I don't care what you do. I'm kidding. Watch. Keep watching. Welcome, adventurer, to Blood and Steel. Before beginning the game, you must create your character. This mod features an explicit class system and a global difficulty setting. These things have a large impact on how hard your initial start is and how difficult gameplay will tend to be. So please read the descriptions carefully, especially if this is your first time playing this mod. So we'll continue. Select your character's gender. Female. In the world of Blood and Steel, the world of Blood and Steel, you pick a character class to set the initial tone and style of your adventures. This can have a profound impact on the difficulty of the start of play and other factors, so please read the descriptions carefully and choose the class that's best suited to your play style. And here you see 7 classes. If I click on each one of them, I can go through each of the class descriptions. I'm not really going to do that only for the sole purpose of keeping the video short, because I do want to, get a bit of fighting done. And if I start reading all the descriptions in the menu screens preceding the start of the game, we're going to be here for 20 minutes, and that's going to be 20 minutes of just me reading menu descriptions. But a quick rundown: these are essentially ordered according to how difficult it is to play each. The commentary is pretty easily the easiest one. You're a good fighter, and you can lead mercenary troops with some bonuses and so forth. As a merchant, you're not a good fighter, but you get lots of bonuses to your financial abilities. So you can sell things for better, you can buy things for better. I think you get discounts for troop upkeep, but of course at the expense of not being able to fight as effectively on the field. So. And it might have a few penalties in terms of the size of your army. I'm not sure, though. I've never really analyzed it myself. The Barbarian starts with superhuman strength and agility. It's really fast, really strong, but suffers from severe penalties in terms of financials, and in terms of army size and upkeep. The Barbarian is essentially the one-man army, literally. The mercenary archer is essentially a mercenary archer. It really is self-explanatory. Excels at archery and is like the commentary. Gets bonuses to commanding mercenary troops. The sergeant is basically a soldier, a decent fighter, actually a good fighter, all told. A good fighter who can lead armies very effectively, especially armies comprised of. What am I thinking of? Especially armies comprised of factional troops. The kind of troops that you recruit from villages and so forth. Think Kokujo and how the recruitment there worked. The brigand is essentially a raider. You can gain bonuses to raiding villages and so forth. But you're the enemy of factions and lords. But you are the ally of bandit factions, and you can recruit bandits from taverns and so forth. Finally, the peasant revolutionary is the enemy of everyone. Literally enemy of everyone. But gains nice bonuses to essentially can command a huge, is a very, very bad fighter. Can't fight at all, actually. unless you, like, give him a firearm or something. But it gains a lot of bonuses to army size, army upkeep. Essentially, the present revolutionary is very good at gathering an army and marching it around and conquering Calradia. Now, it's difficult, though, keep in mind, because everyone's your enemy. You know, if you conquer a town with the peasant revolutionary, that could go very badly, depending on how whoever you invaded reacts. Or another faction could come traipsing along and recapture the castle on you. But anyway, so that's a rundown of the 7. We're gonna go with merchant because it'll be pretty easy, all told. You are a deal maker, even a bit of a schemer. Your skills with money are regarded with awe by your mercantile contemporaries. Your reputation with the highborn may not be superb, but if there's one thing these people understand, it's the power of the purse. This is the second easiest start. You have excellent starting cash, good trading skills, and while your stats aren't great, you will find many ways to turn your current nest egg into capital. Good for explorers, peaceful types, and people who want to play the metagame early. I mostly just want money. Choose your difficulty level. Be warned, these levels have profound impact on the difficulty of the entire game. Casual gamers for folks who have time restrictions or who just want to play in a comfortable sandbox. You will not see the full variety of the game in Casual Gamer, however. Normal is intended for people who have beaten Native Mountain Blade and is intended to be more difficult than Native in some respects and easier in others. Mommy is for people who want to have a very difficult challenge and should be considerably harder than Native. I'm going to choose Mommy because Mommy is really the level setting where everything changes, where that really, I think, makes Blood and Steel a worthwhile mod to play. And of course, Mommy, because that's who you've been crying for. You've been warned. Anyway, now the gameplay options. I'm not going to read through these. It's worth noting that essentially I'm going to have them. I'm essentially going to scroll. I'm scrolling down right now, so if you want to read them, pause it real quick, or if you're a fast reader, good on you. But essentially I don't want to read them all because they're just really long, and you'll see them throughout the mod. However, there is one option I do want to talk about here. One, I want to turn off heroic health, because if you just read the description, just snapped up to the top. If you just read that description, though, I think heroic health is actually detrimental to the play experience. So, if you notice here, though, there's a bottom option here, current days to doom, 45 days, standard mommy difficulty. I can also switch this to, to current days to doom 1 for the truly hardcore. But I prefer 45 days because, well, you'll see what the days to doom is about. Oops, not go back. Continue. Become an adventurer and ride to your destiny. I shall. What will the game's saving policy be? Allow me to quit without saving, and so I can, do my random. Hey, look, there's a party that looks really dangerous. I'm gonna attack it. I like to do that. All right, we're going to name our merchant character Saitara. This is actually a name that comes from a character I created in Guild Wars, the original one. I really want Guild Wars 2, by the way. But in the meantime, but anyway, Saitara, and I actually did not realize until years later, like last year even, because I made this character like 8 years ago, 10 years ago. 8, 9, anyway. I never realized that the first 3 letters are actually the last 3 letters of my name. I never made that connection. I literally just slapped a bunch of letters together and, was like, it's a name. Without ever realizing that I essentially stuck my own name in the name. Anyway. Alright, let's get ourselves some agility. Let's get 1 more intelligence. Let's get some strength. I'm going to spend a bit of the early game building up my strength and agility so I can wear some decent clothing. Because with 5 strength, I can't really put on any good armor. 6 agility, I don't really get good skills. So I'm going to offset that by upgrading those a bit, probably to 12 each. And then I'm going to focus entirely on intelligence charisma because that's where my true strength lies. Alright, no of combat. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Combat training. I'll do that just because I'm going to do it in the future. Okay, we're going to bump up leadership. Combat, oh yeah. So let's talk a bit about skills before I move on. Xeno, the creator of the mod, felt that first of all, the personal combat skills like power throw, power strike, iron flesh, and so forth were imbalancing factors in in Mountain Blade. So he eliminated most of them, and he's replaced them with some skills as well. Here we have defensive tactics. Your ability to instruct your troops on the proper use of terrain, weapons, and fighting techniques to defend themselves. Each level lowers damage taken by 1 for non-heroes, 2 for heroes. He's included toughness, which replaces Iron Flesh. It's functionally it replaces Iron Flesh. It increases your hit points by 2 per point, and increases the amount of damage you take by 7% or 4% for non-heroes. I don't have to worry too much about toughness because I don't plan on being a melee fighter. The next one is reflexes. This is an interesting mechanic he's added to combat, in that he's created a skill that allows you to dodge attacks. Actually, so something swings at you, it can miss. It was a little funky early on actually, because kill shots would still kind of register, but you kind of like resurrected. It's an interesting mechanic. I don't think it works perfectly well, but on the most part it does. I was playing a game earlier, actually, where it kept triggering over and over again, and I was practically ripping my hair out because I was fighting the most basic of units, and they kept dodging my swings, and it was aggravating. Heroism. Each point increases all damage dealt by attacks by 1 for non-heroes, 2 for heroes. It also increases your battle advantage by a little bit. Okay. And finally, we have combat training. Stop it. We have combat training. This skill represents your training as opposed to your natural talent or lessons learned from using your weapons. Each level gives you a 3% chance to get a critical hit, which deals 3 times normal damage. Combat training is actually pretty useful too, for combat-oriented characters. Okay, we're gonna do a lot of prisoner management. We already have a lot of trade. I know I'm kind of segueing with few pauses. Just bear with me. Okay, we have a lot of prisoner management, a lot of trade, because a lot of our playthrough as a merchant, of course, is going to involve us being, what's the word? Merchants. So, let us persuasion. Okay. Let's get some persuasion too. Alright, let's see, what other skills do we own? Because we have to clear out the skills. That's something I've always found annoying, that you have to clear out all your starting stats except for like 5 weapon points at the beginning of the game, and I've always found it to be a little on the irritating side. Okay, let's give ourselves a little looting. Because looting's also been changed. Looting's also been changed in the mod, in that it's essentially, it only affects the character who has the looting skill. It's no longer a party-wide skill. So, say I recruit Clethy, who's the thief, who's one of the thief companions / heroes, as they're called in this mod. Her superior looting skill will supersede mine. She'll get a lot more items from the aftermath of a battle than I will. So that's part of the reason I need to boost my agility. I need to get some looting skills so I can get some items to sell off to merchants as well. All right. Let us now get... Alright, let's get... Alright, let's do one-handed weapon to 20-30. And let's do crossbow firearms, because there are a lot of firearms in this mod. You're going to see it. Up to 22 there. Really only the last 5 weapon points, because I always like to save weapon points until I really know how I'm going to build my character, because sometimes I just pick up weapons, because, sometimes you just get weapons and you start using them, and they eventually become your primary proficient weapon. Alright, so, next up, character creation. You'll have to mind the shader issues here. It looks a little odd if you look, it's like my face is glowing and everything. So, if we look here, you got your traditional skins, but then Xeno added a lot more skins. You can see they have makeup and different features, they have different tones and complexions, and I'm just going to scroll through them real quick, and a big reason he said that he included a lot of these faces with makeup, is that in the Middle Ages, makeup was actually a pretty big deal. I mean, when you don't bathe for 6 months, you start looking pretty dirty, so you use the makeup to cover it up. You can imagine how it must feel with a layer of dirt on your face followed by a layer of makeup. Granted, they probably didn't care back then, simply because, while cleanliness is certainly a thing, it's sort of like, it wasn't nearly as much of a concern, I think. So it probably just felt normal to them. I do have one niggling issue with the some of these made-up faces, and that even if they are theoretically like sort of accurate representations in some senses, having makeup on and so forth, a lot of them look very clownish to me, and I don't know, I can't really get behind a face that I can't take seriously, It's why, in general, when I choose a face, I'll choose, one of these that are not as odd to look at. It's just what appears to be has some heavy eyeliner and, dark lipstick, and that's fine. Oh, good, my favorite hair. Brown, black, black, dark black, black. Okay, done. And now I just choose my city. I can go to Praven and Swadia, Ravaden in the Kingdom of Vagars, Tulga in the Khanate, Sargoth, the Kingdom of Nords, Jelkala, the Kingdom of Rhodox, or Shariz in the Saranid Sultanate. And I think I'm going to choose... I have no idea. So, we are just going to kind of, we are going to click. We're going to Vagars. I just closed my eyes and kind of hovered my mouse around it and clicked. You have come through the Vagar Highlands in a caravan, a plateau exposed to the bitter winds from the north. The land here is frozen for most of the year, but the forests are rich with fur-bearing game, and the rivers are teeming with fish. The riches of the land draw the traders, but the traders in turn draw bandits. You saw the occasional dark figure mounted on a shaggy pony watching the passage of a caravan from a snowy ridge, and were glad when the spires of Ravaden came into view across the wide valley of the Boluk River. Your party is almost to Ravaden. You can almost smell the wonderful sense of cooking fires and a well-deserved rest in a cot in the local inn. As you cross an ancient bridge, however, your lookouts in the vanguard suddenly cry out in horror. This opening is actually very different from vanilla Warband, as we're about to see. First of all, there's a giant bridge. And that looks like a face. And what is up there? What is in the front there? Oh, God. I just kind of shot off there. I am shooting what appears to be remnants, something. What are these things? What could they possibly be? What kind of great abomination... Dodge the attack. What kind of dastardly abominations could I be facing? Oh gosh! Oh God! What? My organs. Oh, hello. How did I end up in here? Is that a door? How did you end up in here? The door doesn't look like it opens. What's this? Is this a door? What are these? Doors or windows? Can't tell. Okay. Ah, you're awake. It's good to see that you could still walk. You're lucky that we came along. I had been speaking with the watch when we heard the sounds of a fight and ran to see what was happening. We didn't arrive at time to prevent you from getting knocked down, but we may have saved you from getting your throat cut. Now, maybe you can help me. We've always had brigands in the hills, driven to banditry by war, debt, or love of violence. Recently, however, they've been getting bolder, leaving their camps in the wild and venturing into town, looking for unwary prey. The watch commander tells us it's because of all the fighting on the frontiers, fewer men to keep an eye on the streets, but I'm not sure what to make of that. It seems to me that the most logical explanation is that these bandits have an ally inside the walls who help them enter unnoticed and helps them identify particularly tempting targets. Last week, you see, they took my brother. Wait! I just killed... I was just fighting undead! What are you bothering me about your brother for? I don't know what my brother was thinking, a lad from a prominent house, out alone after dark in times like these. Well, I suppose you were too, but you're a stranger here and didn't know how bad things have become. He had no such excuse, but he's family, so what can you do? If you don't protect your kin, then people will start thinking that you can't protect your investments either, and I can't have that. No doubt the gang will soon send word about a ransom, but I don't care to pay it. So here's my proposition. You look like you had a bit of experience with a blade. More like money. And more importantly, you must have a bit of fire in your belly, or you wouldn't be coming to Calradia to seek your fortune. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Okay. Gather a small party, track down these bandits to their lair, teach them a lesson they won't forget, and get my brother back safe. In return, you'll earn my lasting gratitude and a bit of silver. What do you say? Oh, why the hell not? You'll be able to do this by yourself, though. If you try and take on the whole gang single-handedly, the hunter will become the hunted. I'll warrant. You'll first want to round up a group of volunteers. There's always a few lads in the villages around here looking for a bit of work. That's more interesting than tilling the soil or hauling water. They'll follow you if you pay. So take this purse of 500 dinars. Consider it in advance on your reward. Go round to the villages and use the money to hire some help. I'll reckon that you'll need at least 5 men to take on these bandits. Very good, sir. I'll go correct. Collect some men from around the villages. Good. You can find me here. You can find me again in the tavern here in Rayvaden after you've gotten your group together. Then we'll speak out what we do next. Okay. I've taken my first quest, so I can check that by pressing Q. Okay, so we're finally ready to save, and it's been like 22 minutes since I started this. So I'm gonna remind you to like, to comment, to subscribe, and I think you're really going to enjoy. I think you're really going to enjoy this mod because it's really crazy. I think you just saw from that initial fight. It's really crazy. So I will catch you next time when I play Blood and Steel.